Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Jacob's Record Reviews. Woo, yeah, cue the applause. I know it's been a little bit, I believe the summer. It's been quite some time, but I have decided that I'm on winter break and I'm back from college, and why not? Why not listen to another one of the records that I have? And I got a little bit of equipment, so why not put that to good use as well? So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be listening to another record, which I'm going to go grab right now. Oh, say you will stay with me. Love, must I say I love you? Well, how do you like my pad? We are going to be reviewing Rupert Holmes's Widescreen. Now, Rupert Holmes is an artist that I have been fond of for many a year now. You may know him as the guy who made the Pina Colada song, but I promise you by the end of this video, you will know him for at least one more thing. Because, oh my god, I think he is one of my favorite artists of all time. And I think that what he did in Widescreen, which I believe is one of his first releases, which this copy is, if you couldn't tell, it was a rough one, but I was happy to acquire it because I love this album so much. But the stuff that he does in Widescreen is just so phenomenal that I really want to bring attention to it. So I'm going to go re immerse myself with this album, and I will be back for the review in a little bit. So I'll see you then.
Well, you've chosen a good place to collapse, on the couch of the most brilliant psychiatrist Leipzig has ever known. Perhaps if you were to tell me all about it.
Yes, maybe that would help. Doctor, they're all trying to kill me.
Ah, yes, and who exactly are they?
I don't know. I can't remember. It's just something I feel instinctively. Can I have one of those cigarettes?
Ah, of course.
I've seen cigarettes like these before. Black paper with silver tips. Are they Russian?
Yeah.
Well, I am back from listening to this album, and let me tell you that Rupert Holmes's Widescreen, it's incredible. It is, in fact, it is Rupert Holmes's debut album, and I will say with utmost certainty that it is such an amazing album. Oh my goodness. Every single song, in fact, even as you heard from the end of the record playing, the last song is not even technically a song on this album, and I still find it just incredible. The entire theme of this album, it really centers around movies and either making songs that are similar to movies, songs about movies, or songs with the opening song Widescreen being about songs that are about people watching movies or being engrossed in television, which is what I believe soap opera, I believe it is soap opera. Yes, soap opera talks about in this album. Overall, just an incredible album. And I would definitely recommend that if you have not heard it, if you have not listened to this album, that you give it a chance. If you think that you like the Pina Colada song and you would like some more songs from that guy, believe you me, he has a lot. And this album is really good. But now we might as well get into each song of this album, and I'm going to kind of lay out my thoughts on every single song while also giving you a little bit of an explanation of each song. Now, one thing that I did not notice until now is that actually every song has a little short description on the back, so I'm going to read that and then get into the song. So starting off with the title of the album and also the first song of the album, Widescreen. So this is what it says. Widescreen, a statement of philosophy and intent introducing the wonderful world of film rock. No special glasses needed. Puts you in the second row. Prepare for bar 25. So this song talks about an individual. None of them are named, obviously. It's a song, but an individual man who wishes that his life could be like the movies that he watches. The song actually it opens with the lines. There are songs that sound like movies. There are themes that fill the screen. There are lines I say that sound as if they're written. There are looks I wear in the theater that the theater should have seen. So it's this guy who wishes that his life could be like a movie, the movies that he's so enamored with. And yet, as it kind of goes on, you kind of realize that he's just kind of consuming, like he's being consumed by these movies. He is fully investing his life into them, basically, and imagining that life were like that, but it's not. Later on, it talks about him going out with a woman to watch a movie. And he kind of talks about let me read some of this here. As we walk out of the movie, do I look like Steve McQueen? Does the orchestra play chords when we start loving? Do we move just like slow motion on the screen? And then it follows right into life's a constant disappointment when you live on celluloid. But my movie expectations are a dream I can't avoid, waiting for the girl to say the things that I heard in the film last night. But she doesn't want to play the role and she can't pick her cues up right. Will I dream? Yes, I might. It kind of talks about this character's obsession with this. He wants his life to be a movie, but it can't be. So he goes back to the widescreen, the movies to fulfill him basically. Oh, hey Belle, thank you for joining us. But yeah, he returns to the movies once again. And that kind of concludes Widescreen, which I believe is such an amazing opening, talking purely about lyrics and how the song sounds. Oh my god, the song it really encapsulates a movie feel, which is exactly what you want in a song that's talking about movies. That's one thing that I think Rupert Holmes does really really well with this album, is that all of these songs, they really encapsulate what you are thinking about when you hear them. And I think that he does a wonderful job about that as we head into some of these upcoming songs. All right, next song is Terminal. I will read this one. This one's a sad one. Terminal. The gray flannel fantasies of a tired consumer, they come true in this sincere tearjerker. Our hero gets his one shot at happiness and muffs it naturally. This song, Terminal, is about the main character again. He's a dude. And he's at a terminal. He's at a bus terminal. He goes on to go to his 9 to 5 job, which I believe he mentions it. Oh yes, I was a commuter on the 804, worked for a computer on the 19th floor. Clearly, he is enamored with his job. He does not. Obviously, he's not. He does not enjoy his life. He sees life passing him by, and he wants more. He just doesn't. He can't get it until he gets on the bus. And as is said in the song, you came down the aisle of the bus and you sat by my side. Shoulder up to shoulder, we shared that 9 o'clock ride. Oh, my heart was screaming as you left your seat. Following your movements, I was at your feet. And oh, down into the terminal both of us filed. So we entered the terminal just as you smiled. So, what ends up happening is he meets this girl on the bus, as you could imagine, and he decides that this is the person who I have been destined to fall in love with. And so he decides that's what I'm going to commit to. So what does he do? He continues and he follows her. She asks, "Won't you leave off work for the day? You asked of me then." So I phoned in sick on the way to to the home of a friend. We were all alone from 10 a.m. till 3. Really thought the fire had gone out of me, but this is where some of Rupert's lyricism I just think is so beautiful and incredible. This song, it also just sounds amazing. The piano in all of these songs, just wonderful. If there is a piano, there's a lot of really big orchestral songs within this album, surprisingly. But here's the line that it always gets stuck in my head. You awoke the sleep of my life from gray into red, made the weary wonder of Wall Street rise from the dead. I could have held her body my entire life, but I had to get home to the kids and the wife. And so I left for the terminal where I began. Baby, no, I wouldn't have left if I'd been half a man. He still feels conflicted because this is another Rupert Holmes song about cheating. Yes, the Pina Colada song is not the only one. He's finally found the love of his life, but then he realizes that he is still being pulled back by the things that he is already committed to, like his wife and his children, which seemingly he does not care for that much. But still, he feels this regret, so then he pulls away from her. And as soon as he does that, he gives up on that one opportunity that he had, as was said in the screen or in the little description here. So then the song continues on, and he says, so here I am this morning where love had asked for the dance, here within this terminal where I passed on a chance. I could have, oh my God. Lord, I'll never find her, though I've truly tried. Probably she's found another bus to ride. She's gone. He can't find her. She is completely gone. He will never find her again, Bella. Yeah. He will never find her again, probably. And that kind of makes the end of this song just truly depressing because it uses the word terminal and it flips it from what you initially thought. Or, well, it uses a different meaning of it. I am now about to begin the last of my days. I am within what others would call a terminal phase. I myself can only say it's living dead, riding to the office with a song in my head that goes la da 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 da, and you know it grows. It's such a beautiful ending because, and it's really depressing because it's clear that this character, he is within a terminal phase of his life. He is dying. And yet he is happy that he can still think to that day when he got to spend that time with the love of his life. Just a sad song and such a good song. Such an incredible song. Oh my goodness. If there's one song you should listen to from this album, it should be Terminal. Incredible. Now on to the next one, which is Second Saxophone. Second Saxophone reads, in which Rupert attempts the ultimate recap of the 1940s. His arrangement, as performed by Humphrey Bogart Memorial Orchestra, leads into an ending that would have done O. Henry proud. The sax section has requested us to indicate that Rupert is playing the alto sax at the conclusion of this cut, and should not be confused with any of them. So, this song is about a second saxophone, which, for those who do not know music too well, is basically the backup. The person who is playing more of the backup role. So it's about another guy, who has been performing second saxophone at the Cafe Rouge. So he's been playing second saxophone there, and he dreads it. He hates it. He loves the saxophone, but he knows that playing second saxophone, it's getting him nowhere. He sees all the ladies swooning over the guys who play their solos. And so, as the song goes on with some incredible saxophone playing, oh my God, this one is so great. It slowly transitions out. He begins to talk about how he just can't stand it. So then the line goes, I quit the band and I'm on my own. I won't play second saxophone. So he quits. He quits and he goes out. And then you kind of think, oh, maybe this is a triumphant, he's escaping what has been holding him back. But like it even reads, and initially I wasn't sure if this was a positive or not. Yeah, I've quit the band. I've gone on my own. I don't play second saxophone. From 8 to 6, they hear my licks on Broadway. So I was like, oh my god, Broadway! He's playing for Broadway now, and he can. But I was kind of like, well, I don't think you can really do solos on Broadway like a musical production. No, not a musical production, Broadway. He is on the street, which then the song ends and he says like this place must be the worst, but still at least I'm playing first. And it's this the saxophone playing that they've mentioned that Rupert does, where it's him playing a saxophone and then it slowly cuts to the noise of just street, like there's no backing anymore. It's just him playing the saxophone. And then it's just as if you were on a street. You hear cars passing by, you hear honking, you hear all sorts of things. And then you hear a guy walk up and give him some change. And then Rupert goes, "Thank you, sir." It's such a I love the stories that Rupert Holmes tells. They're just so incredible. Like I don't know, just the way that he's able to tell these stories within music. It's like obviously there are a lot of songs that tell stories like one of the examples I always think of a song that tells the stories like Cats in the Cradle, where it's like oh he wanted his son wanted to hang out with him, but then he doesn't want to hang out with his son, but then he gets old and then he wants to hang out with his son, but then his son doesn't have time for him, and it's like, oh, they're the same. I'm not a big fan of Cats in the Cradle, if you couldn't tell, but that's an example of a song that I think tells a story. I just think that Rupert Holmes just like really encapsulate the story. Like most of them will just it'll just be those moments and then it'll just be like some music. But with second saxophone, it really feels like you're there. With widescreen, it really feels like you're a guy or you're watching this guy who's been watching movies. You hear the surround sound. You hear this pull the mic away. You hear this big surround sound like it's this, it's as if I'm there watching the widescreen. I just think that Rupert does an incredible job of that. And now we will move on to the next song of this album, which is Phantom of the Opera, which, yes, is about the play, or not play, musical Phantom of the Opera, which, if you don't know much about, which I don't, but I kind of got the gist of it from this song, you kind of need some info. You can kind of figure it out. But if you know the context, it helps. The description of this one is Eric the Phantom, as created by Gaston Leroux in the year 1908, and as portrayed on screen by Lon Chaney, Claude Rains, and Herbert Lom. Beauty is only skin. So, this song is from the perspective of the Phantom, which I do not know much about Phantom of the Opera, but what I do know is it's basically about a guy who lives, he's this phantom, he's disfigured, and he lives in these like catacombs beneath a church, or it's like um something similar to that. Yeah, it's like an because there's an orchestra that performs within there, so it might be something else. But in any case, the song is from the Phantom's perspective, and it's him attempting to reach out to the girl who I don't know how she comes up in the musical at all, but he's swooning after this girl, and he believes that she is the love of his life, as is the theme that we've kind of seen throughout some of these songs. And he wants her to see him, but he knows that he will terrify her. Some of the lines in this song just incredible. Oh my goodness. Like here's another line. Um if you were once to see my face, I know you'd fear it. Your screams would drown my song. Just what my face has got to do with what I'm saying never has been clear to me. How could my features change my words, is what I'm saying. Something you don't hear, but see. I am your phantom who is buried in the curtain or on the chandelier. I may be hidden in the wings. You may be certain my watchful eyes are near. I watch and wait to see if time will bring a new crowd who will judge me differently. Yet every night they say the orchestra's too loud, but they love the scenery. And yeah, it basically goes on where he wishes that he could talk to this girl, but he cannot. He knows that his features will terrify her and that she won't accept him. And that frustrates him to no end. He just wishes that he could be treated as if he were someone, but he cannot be, for they simply are terrified of him. And it's another beautiful song on the album, just incredible. And then I believe, we have two more songs, and then we get to the second side. There aren't actually a ton of songs on this album, and I will explain why. It's because of psychodrama, which is a whole can of worms. In any case, next song is titled "Talk," which the description says speaks for itself. This one is fun. "Talk" is more upbeat song, but it's basically about a guy who wishes that he could convey love, but he can't because his talking gets in the way. It begins. It's really self-explanatory when I read some of the lyrics. Especially the first verse, which is when she said, "I don't really want to know you. All I want to do is show you. Why did I begin to talk? When I said, 'Tell me, do you like linguine? Have you seen the new Fellini?' That's when she began to walk. If there's smoke in her eyes, you would think that I'd get wise, but I can't let my love do the speaking." And then you have the chorus, lead into the chorus. "Talk. All I do is talk. Can't I say the words that my heart is sure of? Oh, talk. I'm up to here with talk. Every sound you've heard held me back from your love." So this one's pretty simple, but I still adore it. It's a fun song. A nice song in this album, where it's a man who wishes that he could express his feelings, but all he kind of can do is he can't do that without just talking. He has to keep talking. He just keeps talking, and it gets in the way of him being able to show any affection. Because then, like, this girl, she's just like, "All I want to do is show you," and then he's like, "Do you like linguine?" That was so bad. That was so bad. In any case, he talks. Oh my god, he talks to her and just shuts it down, and then there's just no feeling there anymore, and it crushes him. That's kind of the big part of this song. But yeah, no, this is another fun one of this album, which leads us right into the last song of this side, which is Baghdad. Baghdad, the description here: a death wish dedicated to those who manufacture the widescreen dreams which so often seem larger and brighter and infinitely better than life itself. Baghdad is another interesting story. This is one of the definitely a lot more slower songs on this album. I would say that Phantom of the Opera is a slower song, as well as Baghdad, and then later we'll get Letters That Cross in the Mail, and those are all way slower, just much slower songs. But when we look at Baghdad, um, this one basically tells a story of a love who, or another man, another individual who wishes to find his love in Baghdad, and he cannot. And then it ends on a pretty depressing note. This song is very heavy with imagery and is just kind of, it's beautiful but very soft. Not necessarily one that I jive with as much, but I would not want this off the album. So I will read you the last verse. This is pretty. He says, "So love, if I tonight should die before the dawn, and if I find myself in Baghdad, lost within an empty sleep, no, love, I will not feel alone, though life has gone, for I know you'll be beside me, even as the dark grows deep." So it's kind of beautiful in a sense, because he knows that he will not see his love, but then also he will. He's not with her now, but he will see her at some point. And that concludes the first side of Rupert Holmes's Widescreen. All right, then we get to the next side, and this song is Our National Pastime, which is such a fun song. Okay, our national pastime. I'm going to read you the little description. Rupert unveils his new lyrics and arrangement for the Star Spangled Banner, in which Warren Hitler attempts to pick up Karen Keene at a Mets baseball game. So this character actually has a name which you do not hear in the song. It is only described here, and his name is Warren Hitler, which is fascinating. I do not know why, but as is said, there are two people at a Mets game, and I just think the lyrics really speak for themselves here. I met her at a baseball game that got held up by August rain. Beneath the mezzanine, I huddled up against her hand. By then, the rain had left the ground, and the Seaver threw a few on the mound. We stood to face the flag that flew above the Navy band. Then the anthem began to blare. Through the stadium, it rang through the open air, and I knew this was the time to make my pitch. And right as he says pitch, it's beautiful. You hear the sound of a baseball bat hitting a baseball, and then the crowd going wild. And then it transitions into Warren's plea to I believe it's Karen. Warren's plea to Karen, which is, "Won't you come home with me? I have a room you should see." It's 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 really fun. There's some very interesting parts of it. There is a part where Karen Keene, this character, actually talks, who is played by Alice Playton, and they talk, and he's like, "So, how do you like my pad?" And she's like, "Oh, it's great, it's great." And then she was like, "Oh, what kind of wine is this?" And he's like, "Oh, that's red wine." She's like, "Red wine? That's my favorite kind. Are you having a terrific time?" "Oh, I'm having a terrific time. This is great." And then yeah, at the end of the song, like throughout the song, it's playing the national anthem like in the back. You really don't notice it. I didn't, at least when I'm listening to it, until the end. But it's like he says, "So I never got your name," and then it goes dun 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 dun, and then it's like da na 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 na, and then she goes, "It's Karen," and then he's like, "That was my mother's name," and then it's da. It's just I don't even know how to describe it, but it's such a fun song. It's got this upbeat feel to it. It switches up the transition from the opening to the "Won't you come home with me" is really fun. Just an upbeat song and a really fun one. Now we shall move on to the next song, "Letters That Cross in the Mail." This one is the description here: "A lull in the storm," which features film rock's first dolly shot as we track into Rupert's hesitant piano. Love is often at odds with itself. So this is about two lovers who have been writing letters to each other, and it's just really sad. The it opens with, "Last month, while thinking of love, I wrote her some words and mailed them away. But the next day I found at my door a letter from Spain she'd sent long before, and her note read, 'I haven't heard from you in weeks. I must assume that you no longer care. Too bad, that's it. Goodbye.' It's just amazing how loving can fail from letters that cross in the mail." And then the song ends, and or the song continues, and then it gets to the point where she actually receives the letter that he sent, and or he wrote, "I'm glad that we're through. Full of hate, I mailed it, but then in a week a letter arrived. With love did it speak," and her note read, "I love the tender words you sent me. It seems I've wronged you. Please forgive me. I'll return. My ship leaves soon. But God, I know now that she'll never sail. Our letters will cross in the mail." So brutal. Oh my god. And the story that this song tells is incredible, where it's just like they're getting delayed responses, which obviously wouldn't happen now. You have text and you can text just constantly, and you get your message immediately. But at this time, as you could imagine, you have to send letters. Not obviously at this time. I think this would be. I mean, letters would probably be more convenient, but you did have like stuff like Telegram. But then I don't know. Then again, I don't know how popular that would have been for just like household. I don't know. In any case, or telephone like landline. But in any case, with having to use letters, he sends a letter, but she sends a letter. They cross. Her letter that she sent is like, I haven't heard from you. Clearly, you do not care for me. We are through. And he is hurt by this. So then he sends a letter about, well, I'm glad that we're through. I don't love you. And then he sends that. And then as he sends that, her letter comes to him. And it talks of this, oh, I'm so glad. Please forgive me. But he had already sent the letter. So it was gone. It's truly a depressing story of love, as most of these songs have been. Yet it kind of the song itself for me is a bit on the softer side. So once again, this is another one of the softer songs, but the story, just again, Rupert Holmes' storytelling is so amazing. In any case, then we are on to the penultimate song on the album because, well, this is technically the last song because Psychodrama is not a song. In any case, Soap Opera. This is the song before the last thing on the album. I shall read it. Yeah. Soap opera. In making a definitive statement about the addictive nature of daytime TV, we also encounter grand opera, rock opera, and horse opera. The author believes that this cut may very well possess a large number of words even used in the contemporary song, or ever used in a contemporary song. Challengers should send all inquiries to Mr. Stephen Paley at Epic Records at some address in New York. Thank you. So yes, this song is actually filled with a ton of words. Obviously, it's not really. I don't think it's beating any songs for word count, but it's about a guy who, from the opening of the song, there was a time when I saw myself, a floodlit figure on the stage, the Metropolitan Opera, the Daily Critic's latest rage. But my voice went through a change about the same time as my skin. Now the upper octave is gone, and what is left is getting awfully thin. So it's a guy who I would assume, like a younger age, was, he was seen by the opera as this incredible singer. But as he grew older, you can't hit as many high notes as you could when you were a young child, and he loses a bit of his voice, which is kind of what was carrying him. So they don't care for him anymore, and he's just kind of forced to not be involved in the opera anymore, which then moves directly into talking about how I wound up working nights with afternoons when I'm awake. So I watch the daily dramas as my life becomes a coffee break. And then it gives a detailed story of the soap opera that he is watching, which, oh my God, if there has ever been a song or anything that's encapsulated like how a soap opera just feels, how insane they kind of have to keep getting to, keep going, to keep having this story. I'm just gonna read this. Okay. Here's the story up to date. Shirley's found another mate, though she'll wind up with her husband in the end. But her husband's got no life. He can't make it with his wife, though his secretary's more than just his friend. It's a day-to-day routine, and I watch on the TV screen, letting Bob and Shirley live my life for me. It's an opera made of soap using other people's hope, and tomorrow's show ain't soon enough for me. So that kind of emphasizes back into the character, showing how, this is what his life has become. This is what he's basically putting himself into, to imagine how amazing his life could be by just looking at this other life, which is similar to what was seen with Widescreen, which was the first song of the album. So kind of nice, except this is TV and that was movies, but still just incredible. In any case, it continues, there was a time when I saw myself a clean-cut cowboy on the screen, a spurs and saddle horse opera, but that's a long-forgotten dream. So I watched Let's Make a Deal and win the jackpot in my brain. Then it's time to watch the show that's got my cerebellum half insane. Just showing kind of this, like, obsessiveness with TV where it's just like this is taking over his life. This is his addiction. He sits there and watches Let's Make a Deal and just imagines that he won the jackpot, which is really sad. But that's kind of how life can be. So then I'm going to read to you about as much as I can of this, which is just talking about the soap opera. Okay, here we go. Here's the story down to earth. Shirley's finally giving birth. She's been carrying the baby for a year, but it don't belong to Bob, who's been fired from his job as a surgeon because he's got this sudden fear. He can't stand the sight of blood. Meanwhile, Shirley's mad at Judd, who's the father of the kid, but he won't give. And tomorrow's show will say what they left out yesterday, and that gives me one good reason I should live. Here's the story in a shell. Bobby's mind is shot to hell because he can't recall his name or how he feels. He's a lost amnesiac while his wife's in the back of a station wagon notching up her heels. Meanwhile, Bob's assistant nurse has some poison in her purse and she's going to slip it into Shirley's soup. Good old Judd thought up the scheme. Good old Judd is Shirley's dream, but old Judd don't want to share her chicken coop. And the nurse would like to keep Shirley's body 6 feet deep in a grave adjacent to the Baltic Sea. For she sees herself as wife to poor Bob, who's found a life as a farmer since he lost his memory. So to give a resume, Bob is baling up the hay while his wife is in the straw with Bill and Fred. But she doesn't feel great inside. It's that dose of cyanide that the nurse and Judd will feed her till she's dead. There's a baby who just grew 15 years and only 2, and she has eyes on Judd, who is her dad. But of course, she can't know that. She knows Judd is where it's at, as her mother says. And then the song, it kind of fades out after that. There are still some lines that are not written down here, but oh my God, that just encapsulates perfectly how soap operas can be sometimes, where it's just like, yes, he was a surgeon, and then he got a fear of needles or blood, and then he couldn't be a surgeon anymore, but then he became an amnesiac, and then he started working on a farm, and meanwhile you have his wife who had a kid, but not with him, but with this Judd, and then this Judd is like helping the nurse or fighting off the nurse with he thought up the scheme to kill her with cyanide, and he's helping the nurse who's the assistant of Bob because the girl wants to get with Bob and be his wife, while Shirley doesn't. And then the baby, who is Judd's wife, or who's Judd's kid and Shirley's kid, has grown up 12 years in 2 years and then is obsessed with Judd because she doesn't know that Judd is her dad, and she thinks that he is so handsome because that's all Shirley talks about. Oh my God. So perfect. So incredibly perfect. Oh my goodness. I love it. It's so much fun. Oh, this video is going to be a long one. In any case, that is soap opera. And then we go on to psychodrama. Let me read the little description here for psychodrama. It says, years of research amidst Holmes' archives of radios culminated in the nightmare of a rejected movie dialogue. Truly an epic of mayhem and mystery. So there is a full cast of this. I don't know if you can see it, but it is incredible. It's this 10-minute story of the character of Rupert Holmes. If he were, him, he somehow lands in this psychiatrist's room, and then the psychiatrist starts talking to him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, they're all out to get me, doc." And he's like, "Who are they?" And he's like, "I don't know," but he kind of has amnesia. But then the doctor's like, "Would you like some cigarettes?" And he's like, "Oh, these cigarettes, are these Russian?" He's like, "Oh yes, they are Russian." And he's like, "Oh," and then he takes a smoke, and he's like, "Oh, thanks, Dad. I mean, Doc. That must be Freudian." And then it cuts to what the thing's really about, where it's like, "Oh, now that you are all calm, where is the statue of the Kaiser?" And he's like, "Not you too." It turns out that people have been chasing Rupert Holmes to find the statue of the Kaiser. And then he's like, "Well, considering we are 12 stories up, Master Rupert," and he has a gun, and it's like it's this really played out, like it's almost Indiana Jones-esque, but not really. There's a ton of series that deal with Nazis, but he has this gun pointed at him, and he's like, "There is no escape," and he's like, "Well, I won't try to escape, but I might try the window," and he jumps through the window, and it's this whole crazy story. which then he gets chased by a bunch of other people. He meets up with this lady who's then like, if you ever need my help, just whistle. You know how to whistle, don't you? And then he goes into this other area where he gets cornered by two men who are going to try and steal the who just say that they want the wax figurine of the Kaiser from him, and they're going to shoot him. But then the girl shows up, and then she points her gun at both of them, and they escape. They get in the car and they like escape. Then they go to a mansion, and in this mansion, her dad is like been killed or something, and then the butler tells him that, and then Rupert becomes a detective, and then he sits there and he's like, don't worry, I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna go into the room, and then I'm gonna say I know who the killer is, and then you're gonna flick off the lights, and then whoever the killer is gonna try and run. So then she's like, okay. So they go into the room. This is such an amazing story on an album. This is so weird. So they go into the room, and he starts talking about, he's like, I am the detective, Mr. Holmes, which is really funny because like Sherlock Holmes, but it's Rupert Holmes. And the detective Holmes. And he goes in, and he walks up, and he's like, I have determined who the killer's identity, and he will be found out immediately. Or she, if she is a guy, which I'm not saying she is. And then he's like, in any case, the identity of the killer is, and all the lights flick out. You hear a bunch of noise. It's like you hear the lights flick back on. And he's like, oh my god, everyone's dead. Wait, does that mean the killer is me? And then she's like, not exactly. And it's the girl. She's turned on him, and she has a gun. And she's pointing the gun at him. And she's like, give me the wax figurine of the Kaiser. And he's like, oh my goodness. And then she pulls a lever, and then he falls down a trap door. And then as he falls down the trap door, he lands somewhere. And then the psychiatrist goes, well, you have picked a particularly great place to land, on the couch of one of the best psychiatrists in the world. Oh, they're all out to get me, Doc. And it restarts again. So fun. So fun. Such a strange way to end an album, and I won't be rating that as part of like a song because I just don't think I can. It's something completely else, but it's so much fun to listen to. If you want to hear like a little 10-minute story that's like, I just kind of spoiled it, but it's really a fun thing to listen to. It's literally like a 10-minute little audiobook kind of story. Um it's a fun time, and I would give it a listen. I would give this entire album a listen. But in any case, now we got to move on, and we should actually talk about what I think is the best side and the worst side of this album. All right, so this feels really unfair, so I'm just going to kind of speed this up, but side one is the one that wins. And I think the reason why is just simply because it has more songs. Like, I love psychodrama, but it's not something that I'm listening to consistently. I think it's a ton of fun. But on side one, you have Widescreen, Terminal, Second Saxophone, Phantom of the Opera, Talk, and Baghdad. When you look at side two, it has Our National Pastime, Letters That Cross in the Mail, Soap Opera, and Psychodrama. That's just 4 songs compared to the 6. That's tough. That's tough. And I think all the Rupert Holmes songs are great. So for that reason, I have to give it to side one. I think that side one just has this is the superior side. But, that's kind of unfair just because it has more songs. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the worst songs on this album, which obviously, as you could tell, I love this album, and I really don't think any of the songs are particularly bad on this album. But I still feel as if I probably should, I still have to rank them. I mean, come on, that's my job. As if the rules aren't made up, but that's basically my job here. So, we're going to go third worst, which this one is particularly tough. What I think is the third worst song on this album is we're going to go with Talk. I think Talk, it has less substance than the rest of the songs on the album. Every song kind of has a story, where Talk is just more, it's very general. It doesn't really tell much of a story other than it's this guy who just keeps talking, and then that gets in the way of his relationship. But that's kind of it, and it makes it a little more shallow when you compare it to the rest of the songs on the album. But yeah, no, I guess Widescreen is kind of similar to that, but I don't know, Widescreen, it just feels like this is the one with the least like characterization, where you really feel it. because it doesn't really have a topic that is something that you can really feel. Like Widescreen, you feel just all of the just the movie sounds and the surround sound. Terminal, you can really feel this, like it gives you another movie vibe where it's like this, like he's longing for his girl but he will never have her, and the way that the music works with it just emphasizes that a lot. And then you have like Second Saxophone, obviously. Phantom of the Opera, obviously. Baghdad, it's slower. Um, Our National Pastime, obviously. Oh my goodness. Soap Opera, obviously. And then Letters That Cross in the Mail. Um, Letters That Cross the Mail. I almost thought I said the words wrong, or the title of the song wrong. That one, same thing. So that ultimately leaves me to say Talk is the third worst song on the album. Now, when we get to second worst, I think I have to go with Letters That Cross in the Mail. Now, here's my thing. Here's my dilemma. Letters That Cross in the Mail, I do enjoy it. I enjoy the story. I think the story is wonderful, but the song is so deathly slow. And it's just not something that I particularly vibe with as well. I just think that all these other songs have this really like booming sound. It's a lot of fun, or it's like this piano, strong piano. And I just think that for that reason, um, some of the songs on this album are just the slower ones just don't hit as much, and that's not it still tells a wonderful story, but it's a bit slower, and for that reason I think it's the second worst, which leads me to the worst song of the album, which I think is Baghdad. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the slower songs on this album. It really is tough for me because I think that Baghdad almost sounds better than Letters That Cross in the Mail. But Baghdad, I was just not able to connect with as much as I was Letters That Cross in the Mail. I just really, really dig the story of that one. Baghdad, I feel like, at least with like the some of the words, or some of the, like the chorus. Well, there's not really a chorus, but it's like anytime he uses the no, he hits a really high note. And it's like no, 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 no. And for that, I kind of connect with it a little bit more, Hey Bella. But um, I don't know. I just think that Baghdad has less of a story to me personally than Letters That Cross in the Mail. I just think that one's so tightly knit and just really well done. Where it's like this irony of they're through, but it's because miscommunication, because they're sending letters in the mail and they're so delayed, and they cross, and then that's when they arrive. Yeah. So therefore, bottom three goes Talk, then Letters That Cross in the Mail, and then Baghdad. Bella also agrees. Now we're going for best top three songs of the album, and this one is so incredibly tough. I want it to be known that all of these songs they are absolutely incredible. While I may not dig the slower ones, even those I think are great. So narrowing it down to a top three was really, really tough for me. But I've got to pick something. I mean, it's my job. I got to do it. So, when looking at this, I would say that the third best song of the album would go to Phantom of the Opera. I love Phantom of the Opera. I don't even know the musical, but I love the song. Just, it's so fun. It's such a, well, not fun, but it's such, it encapsulates what Phantom of the Opera is without me even knowing what Phantom of the Opera like really is, without seeing the entire musical, where you just have these moments where it's like, within the song, there's the line where I hate these catacombs. They are my ivory tower. And when he says catacombs, it applies an echo, and you can hear an echo to the next couple lines that he sings. And it's like, oh my God, that really emphasizes what he's saying. And I just think that song encapsulates it so well. Just him saying these words, and then it playing off of that, just wonderful, absolutely. Oh my God. And then it's just so tragic for the Phantom of the Opera. And I have more Rupert Holmes stuff, and there's a CD collection which is like I forget what it is. It's like songs that sound like movies, which is funny. um but it's a collection of 3 albums of his, and it has this album on it, and there are live recordings of a couple of the songs. One of them is Phantom of the Opera, and that live recording is just incredible, just absolutely incredible. But he opens the song and he says that I'm going to play a song for you now, that has a line that I think encapsulates the audience that I'm playing for, which is the line goes, I'm blanking on how you start it, but I know what it is. Yes. I watch and wait to see if time will bring a new crowd who will judge me differently. And he said, and I believe that this crowd that I have here tonight is just so incredible. And you guys are truly just one of the best performances I've ever had. And I just think that's so much fun. And then you can just feel it in his performance of that live version. Obviously the audio is a bit more scratchy, but then when you get to this the album version, I just think it just shines. It's so great. Such a great song, and it's only what I think is the third best of the album. Then when we get to the next one, our silver medal, our second place, I think that I have to go with Widescreen. And this is another biased pick because there's another live version of Widescreen. And personally, I think that version is better than this version. But I just think Widescreen still is so great. The live version of the song, same album. I would totally recommend listening to it. It's so much fun, even though the audio quality is not great. But I think that it sounds wonderful. Instead of how it sounds with it being this fully like big orchestral or like surround sound kind of vibe throughout the song, instead during the song it has this rockin' like beat or rhythm through it after a certain point. It's like as we walk from out the movies, are we acting out a scene? Does the orchestra play chords when we start loving? And then in that song, in that one, it starts playing like violins going up, and then it pauses, and then he's like, and then it goes, duh, do we move just like slow motion on the screen? Life is a constant disappointment. Wonderful. Oh my goodness. I just so incredible. Such an incredible song. Oh my god. That version is just so amazing. And I think that even though I think the album version doesn't do it as much justice as the live version does, I still think it's an incredible message. And while I believe that soap opera probably gets that across a little bit more, I think that soap opera just hits the nail on the head a little bit more. It's kind of fascinating with some of the lines within the song where he's comparing all of these things, like he's talking to this woman but she can't seem to play the role just right and she can't pick up her cues. I love that. I love that. It's depressing, but it's also just fascinating. It makes this character within the song just a really fascinating character. So yeah, that would be my number 2 pick, the silver medal for songs on this album. And now we have what you have all been waiting for, I can only imagine, in this long video, as I imagine it will be long, because God, I love to ramble. And that is the best song on this album. And the best song is... Terminal! It's Terminal. I'm sure you were just, quaking in your boots for what it would be. It is Terminal. I think Terminal is one of Rupert Holmes' best songs, better than the Pina Colada song. I swear. I swear. Give it a listen. So good. So it fills you with melancholy. Oh my god. Um, sure, Pina Colada song is fun. And you like Pina Coladas, and I do love that song. I think it's a great song. But oh my god, Rupert Holmes has so much more. And this is just, if you want another cheating song, a song where it's not as fun as, oh, they're cheating on themselves, with they're cheating on each other with each other, which admittedly is an idea that I could only imagine Rupert Holmes thinking up, because God, he is such a creative mind when it comes to some of the stories he tells within these songs. Terminal is just so good. It's so sad and so good that he finds this love of his life. Oh my goodness, the person that he has been waiting for forever. And he, he could have held her body his entire life, but he had to get home to the kids and the wife. And so he left for the terminal where he began. Just the song is incredible. I love it so much, as if I haven't said that enough. It does such a good job of telling this story and also just bringing you through the emotional highs and lows. He gets to her place. She awoke the sleep of his life from gray into red, made the weary wonder of Wall Street rise from the dead. He felt like he was dying. He couldn't do anything. He did not enjoy his life. He hated it. He absolutely hated it. And yet, being with her has awoken something in him that was laying dormant there, that he didn't even believe existed. And he finds it. But he wasn't able to stay. He wouldn't have left if he'd been half a man. And so the song ends with him searching for her and never finding her, and him finally entering what others would call a terminal phase. And yet, as he sits there, he can only think that it's living dead as he rides into the office, that same terminal, with a song in his head that goes, la da 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 da, and you know it grows, la da 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 da, whoa, la da 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 da, oh, la da 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 da. Amazing. Such an incredible song from such an incredible artist, from just, oh my God, give it a listen if you can, please. Oh my goodness, so good. So good. I believe that will conclude my record review of Rupert Holmes's Widescreen. Such a good album, just such an incredible album. I recommend it to anyone who loves any of Rupert Holmes' songs, especially the Pina Colada song, because my God, there is some good stuff on here. And this is his debut album. Only grew from here. Yeah, no, I would implore you to listen to some Rupert Holmes stuff. If you like what is described as kind of yacht rock, oh my God, listen to it. And even if you aren't, maybe give it a chance. Rupert Holmes has so many songs that are just, there's a range. There's a definitive range, and they all tell great stories. There's one that I would recommend that isn't even on that album. It's called Rifles and Rum. Such a fun, upbeat song that tells just a little story. It's like people living on boats. The chorus pretty much hits it on the nail on the head, where it's like, we've been living high on rifles and rum. We don't give a damn where the money comes. We don't give a damn because we'll all be hung when they catch us selling rifles and rum. So fun. He makes such incredible music, and for that reason, you should absolutely listen to Rupert Holmes. But in any case, thank you for watching this episode of Jacob's Record Reviews. We might get one or maybe even two if I push my luck more in before I head back, and then it'll probably go on hiatus again. At least one more. I can promise at least one. But in any case, thank you for watching. I know this has been a long bit of me rambling, and I'd be surprised if anybody actually made it here. But if you have, I appreciate you. I really hope you give this album a listen. And I will absolutely see you in the next one, whenever that may be. Hopefully soon. Probably soon. So yeah. Bye.
There was a time when I saw myself, a floodlit figure on the stage, the Metropolitan Opera, the daily critic's latest rage.